Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters here on France 24. I'm Mark Owen. Pilgrimage, a moment of spiritual renewal, a time of affirmation of faith. But if making that holy journey puts you in harm's way, our team in Iran travelled with a group of women taking a perilous route. The road to Najaf in Iraq takes them near territory occupied by the Islamic State group. The women are Shia Muslim, the extremists are Sunni, all adding to the potential of coming under fatal attack. We travelled with a young student called Fatima, making the Arbaeen pilgrimage for the first time, against the advice of her parents. The most dangerous pilgrimage in the world. Our team, Mariam Pirzadeh, Sarah Saidi and Emmanuel Urtado.
Students of Tehran University are preparing themselves for a great voyage.
I hope you're going to be all right and that nothing will go wrong.
Don't worry.
No.
This is no ordinary trip, but the biggest assembly of Shiites in the world at Karbala in Iraq.
When you get a moment, I've put all the prayers in your bag. For your grandmother, your grandfather, everybody. God will look after them. Nothing will go wrong. They will come back in good health. It's in God's hands.
Meanwhile, the men are busy at the mosque. Breakfast is to be served to the pilgrims before they cross the Iraq border. The food must be blessed beforehand.
We're making this meal for 300 people.
The women are trying to settle their nerves before embarking on the difficult journey. They double-check everybody's visa and the weight of the bags.
You took 2 chadors?
Yes.
Why? Nobody's taking 2.
Well, they told me they would get dirty.
Fatima has no family to accompany her to Tehran. It's the first time this 21-year-old has taken a trip like this out of northern Iran, first to the capital and then on to Iraq.
My whole family is mad at me. They think that something bad will happen.
But you're going anyway.
Yes.
Why?
They're against it, but I'll let some time pass, and then they'll be fine. When I come back, they'll be happy again. Only when I see the tomb with my own eyes will I believe that I'm in Karbala.
It's time for the great departure. First, western Iran must be crossed. 750 kilometers until the border town of Ilam. All along the voyage, to get into the mood, the pilgrims listen to songs about the Shiite martyr. After 13 hours on the road, the Iran-Iraq border is finally close. The travelers reach the first of a long series of checkpoints. This is one of the most securitized borders in the world. Everyone must cross it on foot.
My family told me something bad would happen. Nonsense.
Plus, the authorities are really looking out for us.
This pilgrimage was forbidden to Iranians up until the fall of former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein in 2003. Increasing numbers of Shia pilgrims are now making the trip every year. In 2011, it was around 40,000. This year, there are 50 times that amount, with more than 10,000 people crossing the border every day. It takes around 5 hours to cross all 4 checkpoints onto Iraqi soil.
I want to get there quickly in our bus and sit down. We're tired. Then we can go to the tomb in Karbala.
It's another few hundred meters to walk in the dust to reach our Iraqi bus, and the first of the official security warnings.
After the prayers, you should go out the same doors through which you entered. That's where you wait for the group. You should always be aware of where the group is, and you shouldn't split up. You can hang your number here, on your chadder.
It may be a different country, but the students aren't too lost in Najaf. Most places accept rials, the Iranian currency, and Persian is spoken by a large number of the local residents.
I had a problem with my group, so now we're sleeping here on the floor. It's not easy.
We didn't bring a lot of money with us, so I can't give you very much. Here's €8. I'm sorry, I can't give you more. Over there, brother, is a guest house run by Iranians. Go and check in.
Fatima has been waiting for this day for the whole year. It's her first visit to the tomb of the Imam Ali, the Prophet's son-in-law, and one of the most adored figures by Iranians. Behind this grill lies the remains of the first Shiite Imam. These small green ribbons hanging up represent the wishes of the pilgrims. On leaving the sacred place, Fatima tries to call her worried parents.
Wait, we'll see if they pick up. Hi, Mom. Are you okay? What's new? We're in Najaf. Why haven't you called me? All my family were against me taking this trip, but I stood up to them. I resisted them and I did everything I could to make this trip happen. I want to come back next year and do it all over again.
Who with?
With who? You really want me to give you their name?
This coffin in the middle of the crowd reminds all attendees that danger is never far away. Inside lies the corpse of a Shia Iraqi soldier killed in fighting against the Islamic State group.
The wish of the martyr was to revive Islam and bring together Muslims from many different countries. That's what makes us come back in ever greater numbers each year.
Shiites in particular are targeted by the jihadist group.
This is the biggest gathering of Muslims in the world. There are 20 million people here from many different countries. They've come to pay respect to Imam Hussein and to show that Islam is a religion of peace and freedom.
Security is managed here, in this local government office, by this man. The lives of millions of Iraqi and foreign pilgrims lie in his hands. He commands 20,000 security agents, intelligence officers, and thousands of volunteers.
The terrorist menace has existed since 2003, after the fall of the Iraqi dictatorship. Ever since, terrorists have regularly tried to hit every corner of Najaf province. The visitors coming into the zone are systematically searched, as well as their vehicles, by ultra-sophisticated equipment, in addition to securing roads using police, intelligence officers, and the army.
The Great Walk that connects Najaf to Karbala is another stage of this pilgrimage. It's important to prepare well to walk the whole 90 kilometers. One man is staying with the young women at their guest house. The leader of the trip. He takes a firm tone with the students.
You have to pay attention. Don't think that someone behind you will look out for where you are. There are a lot of people. You are the only ones responsible for yourselves.
The fear of attacks is never mentioned.
Afraid of an explosion or an attack? No, I'm not afraid. What should I be afraid of? There are security guards here.
How can you be sure of the security?
If there's an attack, we will be martyrs. There's a famous phrase that says if you don't become a martyr, you die. For the Shiites, the greatest title that we can achieve in death is to be a martyr.
This is where the young women commemorate the death of an Imam founder of Shiism, the grandson of Mohammed Hussein. Millions of people take this road to reach his tomb. These free food and drink stands offer them fuel for their journey.
Where's Fatima? Come on, Fatima. I was getting you breakfast. Come on, let's stop and get some food. The others are going forward, my dear. We can't stop.
You want to stop at all the stands.
Stop it. People will think I'm greedy.
Portraits of Iranian armed guards along the way reflect the fact that Iranians make up around 10% of the walkers. After 10 kilometers, the students finally take their first break.
We're surrounded by young people, and the atmosphere is really nice. But we also can't wait to get to Karbala.
The closer we get to the Hussein Imam mausoleum, the more we're attracted by him. It's joy that we're feeling, not tiredness.
Karbala is near, and the security details are getting increasingly visible. Bombs often go off here in the city centre. The latest in June was a female suicide bomber using an explosive belt. The tomb has now become a fortress, guarded by several organisations, including Badr, a Shia militia who want Iraq to become an Islamic republic in the image of Iran, an organisation that rarely let themselves be filmed.
There are many security forces like the army and other government forces. We also have a lot of local army factions here, like us, the Badr group. Our priority is to protect citizens and visitors. Our mission is to secure the mausoleum and its surroundings.
After the fall of Saddam Hussein, many Shiites thought there could be peace. But violent Sunni jihadist groups soon started appearing nearby Shiite sanctuaries. Ammar al-Ghalibi runs the tea stand at the entry to the tomb. For this descendant of the Prophet, the pilgrimage also represents an important statement of identity.
We ask God to help our security forces, the whole Iraqi army, as well as our population. All the armies of the world should be united against this common enemy, because the truth is that the Islamic State group is not based on religion, but terrorism.
In mid-November, for the celebration of Arbaeen, 15 million pilgrims gathered in the holy city. The same ritual as every year, but luckily not marred this time by any security incident.
And our reporter Mariam Pirzadeh is here in the studio with us. Thank you so much, Mariam, for that fantastic report. What I'm interested to find out straight away is what makes these women take this journey, which clearly is dangerous? What is it that inspires them to do it, in spite of the advice they're given not to?
Because this pilgrimage is extremely important for Iranians, and they all feel a duty to do it at least once in their lives. When we followed Fatima, she had come from a town in the north of Iran. She was traveling for the first time, all alone on a bus to Tehran, and then all the way to Iraq. This pilgrimage is really important for Iranians, and for this group of young students, we can see in the report that they're extremely pious. In fact, there are 2 people in this report who study the Quran at university, and when we asked them if they were afraid for their safety, they all replied no, because now it's in God's hands, and if something is to happen to us, then it will. And as Iranians had been deprived of this pilgrimage for many years before the fall of Saddam Hussein, they want to take full advantage. And all the Shiites that we met there told us that this pilgrimage represents their identity. It's a way for them to show that they're Shiites and that this is the existence they want to embody.
And among the words that you just said, it's that idea of your fate being in the hands of God, which is clearly the ultimate thing about faith, I presume, having that faith to just let that happen and go with it. A remarkable thing. Tell us more about the dangers that they face and, of course, the dangers that you were facing in making this film.
There are a great number of potential dangers. There could be bombs, suicide attacks, and abductions. When you cross this part of the border between Iran and Iraq, all of a sudden you find yourself in Iraq in a cloud of dust with no security officials in sight. And you realize that 10,000 Iranians cross this border every day, putting themselves at the mercy of any Sunni jihadist militants, in particular the Islamic State group. There were 2 moments when security was mentioned, in particular when we were close to Baghdad, in a mosque in the Kazemi Mausoleum. Right up until the last minute, we didn't know if we would go because the security requirements hadn't come together. And sure enough, we found ourselves in a very vulnerable position amongst all these pilgrims. Because in Karbala, for example, as we see at the end of the report, there are very regular attacks, and they often target crowds to ensure dozens of deaths. The suicide attack we mention in the report happened at the end of June, but there was another in November last year, for instance. Every year something happens, and so danger can come out of nowhere. But this year, luckily, there were no incidents during this pilgrimage, at least not that we know of.
We're all grateful for that. Mariam, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for your film. And of course, you can see it again via our website, france24, the most dangerous pilgrimage in the world. This is Reporters on France 24. Stay with us.